Mexican boxers are being exposed. Let me start off with Ryan Garcia. Now, a very young fighter, very talented, but low dedication to the sport of boxing. Now, let me explain myself a little bit. Now, a lot of people blame his coaches. When does a boxer take accountability and stop blaming his coaches? We've seen him swap coaches almost every single fight. Absolutely not. When do you need to start blaming the boxer? Now, let's start talking about his actual performances. Who has he fought in? Who has he beaten? Luke Campbell is the only good fighter he has beaten. That's it. He got schooled by Gervonta Davis, and after that, I don't know where his future goes. But he is a young fighter. He could go on to fight Devin Haney, Shakur, Rolly, maybe Pitbull, but he's still young. That's good. But again, he's been exposed by Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis has shown that Ryan Garcia still needs to work on his fundamentals, and all he really has is speed and power. Let's go on to another one. Again, a younger fighter, Isaac Cruz, more known as Pitbull. Now, again, young fighter with a lot of talent and a lot of skill. But who has he really beaten? We've seen the great performance against Gamboa, but we also seen a great performance against Gervonta Davis. I will argue that Isaac Cruz did beat Gervonta Davis in that fight. But after the Gervonta Davis fight, we haven't seen a lot from him. He took a long break, and we seen him on Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford undercard, in which he did. Well, he did what he was supposed to, but it was a very disappointing fight considering the fact that he fought a rookie, absolute rookie. You could tell this guy hasn't had a lot of performance in boxing. So very disappointing fight for Isaac Cruz. Again, very young fighter. He still could have a future in boxing. Now let's go on to Canelo. Canelo has been putting up points for Mexican boxers, but he also has been disappointed and has been exposed in the game of boxing. Now let me tell you a little bit about Canelo. He put points up when he beat Mosley, but then he put points down for Mexican boxers when he lost to Mayweather, when he got schooled by Mayweather. Now I've watched this fight a million times. The first ever fight, Triple G and Canelo fight. I've watched this fight 100 times. I've never seen that fight and said, I think Canelo won that one, or it was a draw. Absolutely not. I'll say Canelo at least won 5 rounds or four, but I've never seen that fight and said he won more than 5 rounds. Now let's talk about Canelo versus Triple G 2. I never seen that fight and said Canelo won that one. I'll give him a draw, the best, but I'm still leaning to Triple G winning that fight. Now a lot of people will call me a Canelo hater, especially the Canelo fans. That's why I hate arguing with Canelo fans. There's a difference between Canelo fans and boxing fans. Canelo fans, when you bring up a bad fact about Canelo, they always say, why are you hating on your own race? I bring up a bad fact about Canelo. Now, I also bring up a lot of accomplishments that Canelo has done for the sport of boxing. The fight against Jacobs, absolutely phenomenal fight for Canelo. Another one, the Sergi fight, one of the best knockouts out there for Canelo. Great fight. Again, Saunders absolutely schooled Saunders. Absolutely great fight from Canelo. Another fight, Caleb Plant absolutely schooled Caleb Plant. Great fight. But then again, as you get older, you don't get better, obviously. So the fight against Bivol, I'll say he got schooled there. Out of his prime, a little bit out of his prime. Again, I think he bit off more than he could chew here. Now, his most recent fight against Ryder, there could not be anybody out there that knew Ryder before Canelo called them out. There's nobody. I'll give you $1 million if somebody knew who Ryder was before Canelo called them out. Nobody knew who he was. So when people say that was a great performance by Canelo, it was supposed to be. I'm surprised he didn't get that knockout. Okay, again, Ryder, not a bad fighter. He did go toe to toe with Canelo, but obviously Canelo was supposed to win that fight. What does Canelo bring to the future of boxing? Well, he has that fight with Charlo, which, I think Canelo wins that fight easily. Again, Charlo comes from a lot of ring dust. He hasn't fought in a long time after that injury. So we'll have to see how he performs, but I have Canelo on this one. Again, for Canelo to bring back points for the Mexican boxers, I'll say he will have to fight and beat Charlo and Benavides. I've talked a lot about the past, but now let's talk about the future of Mexican boxers.
I'm gonna keep it short and simple. The future of these Mexican boxers. Let's start off with Ryan Garcia. Like my brother said, he's still young. He still could get that rematch with Gervonta Davis. He still could fight somebody like Devin Haney and prove something, prove that he's here to fight, and prove that he is improving. Somebody like Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz, I think he's still going to be in the game. You know, he's still somewhat young. He still has something to prove after that Gervonta Davis loss. Obviously, it was a one-on-one fight. It was a really close fight. It's not like Gervonta Davis clearly won that fight. If anything, it made Gervonta Davis look bad. So there's obviously still a future there for Isaac Cruz. Now, David Benavidez. I think David Benavidez is at the top of the food chain when it comes to talking about Mexican boxers. I think he schools every single one of these Mexican boxers. Canelo, Canelo fans will say when Canelo and David Benavidez fight, it's going to be a close fight. Canelo's going to knock him out. Nobody in the right mind thinks that. After seeing Canelo recent fights, no one is going to think that David Benavidez is going to get knocked out or lose dramatically to Canelo. If anything, I think David Benavidez is going to put an ass whooping on Canelo. I really think it's going to make the fans feel bad for Canelo. I think the fans are going to feel bad for Canelo and be like, oh my God, somebody stop that. They need to stop that fight immediately. I don't think Canelo stands a chance with David Benavidez. Benavidez is taller, longer. I think he puts more pressure. He's younger too, and he's hungry, and he has something to prove. So when it comes to the future of boxing for these Mexican boxers, I listed to what's going to happen to these young boxers. Canelo, I think, is going to die off. He's going to get old. And anytime he wants to fight somebody who's good and who's in their prime, he's going to get his ass whooped. No problem. Now, David Benavidez and all these other youngsters, they 100% have a future in boxing. And they 100% have something to prove.